Hi, welcome to Alaska and Thailand. Here again on Hue Hin Beach, 6 a.m. Going to be a beautiful sunrise. Nice and cool. I just took a run, so I'm sweating already. I should enjoy the cool morning air, but that's the best time to take a short run. I don't go far, just up to here. But anyway, today I thought I'd tell you all about my upcoming lease I got coming. I've been here going on 8 months now in Hue Hin here, and I stayed at a few different places. When you go into a condo, the first thing, they're going to ask you how long you want to stay. And I think that, I believe, I could be wrong, but there might be a law that says you have to stay a year. I think that they're not to compete with the hotels, I think, is what the law states. So they automatically try to assume you're going to stay for a year or whatever. But they'll ask. They do 3 and 6 months. They do shorter term. They do month to month, actually. I don't know if they're allowed to or legally they're supposed to, but they're going to try to see if you want a year lease. And how can you stay I don't get it. How are you going to move into a place for a year? Just hand them the money and, okay, this is my home for a year. I want to live there for a month, at least a month, and preferably 2 or 3 before I decide whether I'm going to stay for a month, or stay for a year's lease. That's a long time. And usually the way it's set up, you don't pay the whole year in advance. You just sign the lease and you put a deposit. And if you don't keep your lease, you lose your deposit. I actually did that once. In the same building, actually. When I moved in, they handed me a lease, a piece of paper to sign. It was all written in Thai. I had my Thai friend there, but she was busy talking to her friends and everything. She didn't look at the contract. But I don't know, she did. But I told them I wanted to pay month to month. That's what I relayed them to. And they're like, oh, okay, that's fine. Month to month. And then the deposit was 12,000. It's like 350 bucks. That was actually my month's rent. Equal to 1 month's rent was 350 at the time. So I said, yeah, I happily signed it. I was lucky to get the place. It was in the middle of high season, and everything was packed. And I had friends that had to get rooms out of town. There was nothing in town at the time. Phuket was full. Everything was full in here. When it's high season, man, it's high season. Hard to find a room. But anyway, I signed the contract, and then I realized the room stunk and stuff, and I really didn't like it. It was really a loud traffic, and I knew I didn't want to stay here very much longer. And I was planning on moving right as low season came. And when low season started getting here, and I knew I was going to be able to get a room, I went down and informed them, like close to the end of the month, that I was going to move out this month and go to the next one. And she says, well, you're going to lose your deposit. And I said, really? Why? She goes, because you signed for a year. And I was like, wow, the desk people, they don't speak good English too. And you're going to run into that here in Thailand. So I didn't know it at the time, but they let me sign a year lease. It was all written in Thai. I was like, okay, good. So I lost that actually the owner, these condos, a lot of them are owned by people. So he gave me 2,000 back of the 12,000. So he kept 10,000. I guess it's, he could have rented it out, but I told him in advance, a month in advance, he lost out, but he took advantage of that. But yeah, the place stunk. So now I got a new room, same building, same condo. And I asked them, I want this month to month, not a year lease. Is that okay? They're like, yeah, that we can do that. Okay. So I got it a month to month, and the deposit was only 5,000 on this room, so which is only, and the rent went down 1,000. So I'm paying 11,000 in this new room, and it's really nice. I like it. It's above the traffic noise. It's above the mosquito noise. It's on the shady side of the building. Don't use much aircon. The power bill's cheap. I wish it had a kitchen, more of a kitchen, but it don't. That was what I was going to try to get. But I bought a little cooker now. I can fry steaks and stuff, so it ain't as bad anymore. I can cook a little bit if I want to. And I don't want to cook all the time, so this kind of worked for me. So my rent's due, and my rent went down to 11,000, which is great. That's only like 3,000 or 330 a month, I believe. Yeah, $330 a month, US. That's pretty good. I was happy about that. And now I'm going to go in the deposit was only 5,000. So that's only $150. So that's pretty good. I'll lose that if I have to walk away from the room, which I don't plan to. It's nice. I really like it. The owner took care of it. It's all fixed up really nice, remodeled. So it's a really one of the nicer places in the building. I don't have the demon smells like I used to in the other place. And I just really like it there. And I decided that just this past month or so, since I'm getting my retirement visa here too, I figure I might as well just get a month or yearly lease anyway. I think they had to have it too. It would have helped on the visa deal there. I have to show that I have a year contract, so that's kind of the reason I did it too. But I like the place, and I'm finally settled down enough to where, and I've stayed here in the room a couple of months now, so I know I kind of like it already, and I have no real problems at all. So I guess I'm going to go ahead today. My rent is due, and I told them last week to go ahead and fill out the paper for a 1-year contract if they can do it. She's going to do that. So I guess I'm stuck in my room for a year. I'm really not stuck. I could walk away for $150, but it's a nice small studio, pretty comfortable, nice and clean, well furnished with I'm a minimalist anyway. I lived in a 1-room log cabin at one time in Alaska. 1-room log cabin. Nothing there, just a table and a bench and a wood stove. That's all I had. I had two light bulbs, no water, no sewer. And yeah, that was life for me. So this is pretty good. And this is, all furnished with everything. It's got 2 beds. I don't really need 2 beds. I push them together and I got one giant double king size bed. It takes up some room, but I don't need it. It ain't too cramped. I don't feel cramped in there. I feel just fine. Real easy to cool off. I can click on the air con and cool it off in about 5 minutes, shut it off. And that's cool for 2 hours if I don't open the door, 2 or 3 hours, even in the hot, sunny days. So yeah, when I'd advise you guys when you come here, if you're coming anywhere, when you get into a place, look at your condo. You don't want to sign a year contract right off the bat because there might be bar noises. There could be construction noises. Could have freaky smells like mine did. Just could be too many mosquitoes. Like on ground level, I learned that when you're staying on the ground level grassy area, you got an open door, you're going to have mosquitoes that come in during the day and bite you at night. So you got to be considerate of that. I know a guy, my neighbor over there where I was staying in the room. I actually stayed in another condo too, the Hui Hin residence room, the room they call it. I stayed there for 3 months, I think. I liked it there. It was it was nice. Off Soy 94, you get some of the bar noise once in a while when it gets real wild. There's a bar down below that plays loud music once in a while. So them are considerations. It wasn't too bad, and it depends on what side of the condo you're on too. When I moved to the other side of the condo, on a different room in that same building, I had a ground level, and it was a grass field out there, and that was neat and nice, and had a nice big shade tree right out there on my patio. It was cool. But I had bugs coming in the building, and I'd leave the sliding glass open every day for the afternoon's cool breeze, and the mosquitoes would come in there, and I was getting bit up. There was actually a guy that lived next door to me that moved there because his wife got dengue living here close to the beach because there's a lot of mosquitoes here, and she got dengue from that. So he actually moved inland to get away from the beach. But I noticed that place had a lot of mosquitoes too. There was a big swamp out there, an empty lot with a swamp. It's just a mosquito breeding area. So yeah, that's something to consider. But anyway, be sure to check and if you like the place or not, if you're going to sign a yearly lease, that's kind of a big move. Otherwise, if you have the money to lose, it's not a big problem. But yeah, I'd come in and if you can try for a 3-month lease. That'll tell you 1 month might not be enough, or one would be good enough to figure out a bad problem, And I did that in another place I stayed. The first place I came to was only 6,000, I think 6,000 a month. It was like $190 or something. 6 or 7,000, I forget what it was. 6, yeah, I think. Just cheap, but I couldn't stay there. I was getting bit up by bed bugs. I had to just grab my stuff and run. I was getting bit by some kind of bugs. I don't know if they were mosquitoes or bed bugs. I think both, but I was getting bit up. I had to grab my stuff and run, and I got out of there. It was okay once I got out of there. So you never know. You have to grab your stuff and run. Don't have a year lease that you already signed just a week ago. You know, that would really suck. So something to consider. But today's my big day. I'm going to sign a 1-year lease. So it looks like I'm stuck here on a living on the beach for a year. I think the worst places to be. But if I ever decide I could move again to a loss 150 wouldn't kill me. But you know, I'd pay a lot. I'd pay a lot for my comfort and peace, just the peace and quiet of what I need to be, you know, to live. You know, I'd pay a lot of money for that peace and quiet rather than live somewhere I wouldn't want to live, you know. Well, the sun's coming up. Beautiful morning again. Gonna be a hot day. We're getting into the hot season. And it gets a lot more crowded in the evening down here. I'll come down and do a video sometime in the evening and show you when the tide will be out further. And there's everybody's down here. Last night I came down and the place was just loaded up. Sunday night with Thais. I believe today is a Thai holiday. It's the King's Coronation Day, I believe. Somebody told me it was. I don't know if it's true or not. Probably is. But supposedly this is a holiday. I'm surprised there ain't more people down here. Maybe they got some rituals and stuff they do today. But yeah, it's Monday morning, kind of slow on the beach. Fishing boats anchored up, one's taking off. I'll give you a look around and we'll call it another day. That boat's heading out. Ah, the sun's so bad. We'll see you in the next one.